First started working with the Upper Skagit Indian tribe, I was given these research documents on education from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that really described the history and the cultural and settings that these children were in, living on reservations and having to face growing up in Western culture. This is an image here from children entering a boarding school about 100 years ago, how they were given haircuts and new clothes, and literally these pictures were taken on the same day of the same kids. And so these are part of the challenges that they face. And ultimately, the modern Native American faces it still, the question of how do they integrate into Western society? Do they leave their family and culture and history behind and join Western cultural practices? Or do they stay embedded in the native culture? Or do they try to find some way to bridge it? And it can lead to a lot of stress, which can lead to drug and alcohol abuse and other social and mental problems. So it's a huge issue for Native Americans. However, in these documents, these research documents, I came upon an excellent idea called the supportive gadfly. And this looks at teachers and how teachers work with kids. And so on these axes, we have at the top, we have the active demanding teacher, the teacher that is really demanding the highest standards from the kids. And at the bottom, there's kind of the passive understanding teacher that, oh, okay, that's fine. If you just do what you can do, and will be acceptable. To the left, you have the professional distance, where teachers just keep their professional distance from the kids. They don't have much rapport with them. And to the right, we have the personal warmth teachers, teachers that really connect emotionally with kids and can create a great rapport with them. So among these axes here, there's different labels of teachers, and we won't go into them all, but essentially the traditionalist is sticking to I'll keep my distance and you need to perform, while the sentimentalist teacher is like, oh, I'll be happy and warm with you, and whatever happens and just do the best you can. Where the active demanding teacher that is also has a great rapport with the students has the highest success rate with the native students. So they call them the supportive gadflies. So there's some research on this, and it is something that I've learned by working with the kids, is that it takes time to be accepted into their world. They're used to having a lot of adults come and go, and so when I first started, it was this question of like, all right, is this just another person who's going to be here for a year and then go, or what's going to happen? And so after a couple of years of really having personal warmth and making relationships and a good rapport, and for instance, one was I played a basketball game with the kids, and after that day, especially since I scored 10 points, after that day, they really had a much higher respect for me. They were much more inclusive and responsive, and you could really see how building a rapport with the kids really helped. And then it's essential to keep up that high standard, that active demanding. So I got the personal rapport, but now they need to keep the high standards and not just let them coast. So these kids, I've worked with them on cultural activities. So here we have like a native student pulling cedar from a cedar tree. And we've also visited museums and look at cultural history and so on. And I also help provide access to technology to try to reduce that digital divide. A lot of these kids do not have the internet at home. They do not have computers at home. A lot of them have phones, and their parents have phones, and they can get onto social media and so on, but they do not have the capacity to work with word processors and other learning tools that technology provides. So this is the computer lab on the reservation that I put together, and the kids they're working with the technology. So it's about providing equality or equity for them And there we go. I said it, equality versus equity. So what is the difference? Well, this is a popular image here to represent the definitions of equality versus equity. And equity is more about fairness, about giving fair opportunities so everybody has opportunity to achieve the same goal. In this case, it is seeing the baseball game over the fence. Where equality is about providing sameness, give everybody uh, the equal amount of tools, the equal opportunities. But that doesn't necessarily translate into being able to reach their goals.